Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that really tries to get to the heart of the big topics, bringing you the insights that matter. Today, we're looking at something absolutely vital, how new medicines actually get from, a discovery in a lab
Right.
to being something that can safely help patients. It's quite a journey.
It really is. And it's incredibly complicated. People often don't realize.
Exactly. And it takes so long. We're talking, what, typically 10 to 15 years?
At least. And the cost is just staggering. $1 or even $2 billion for one drug.
Billions. And then there's this statistic that just blows my mind, a 90% clinical failure rate.
Yeah, 90%.
Yeah.
Most candidates just don't make it through.
So that leads us straight to the big question for this deep dive. How on earth can we make this whole critical process faster and safer and, just more efficient?
It's the key challenge, really.
Yeah. And we're going to explore how artificial intelligence, AI, is stepping in as this potentially transformative force in drug regulation all around the world. So our mission today, for you listening, is to get a handle on the really groundbreaking ways AI is being used or starting to be used to make sure drugs are safe and effective.
And also the challenges, because it's not straightforward.
Definitely. We want you to walk away with a real cutting-edge understanding of where this field is heading, because it's moving fast.
And just so you know where we're getting our information, this deep dive is grounded in a really thorough review paper. It's from a top pharmaceutical journal.
Right. Gives us that solid global view on where AI stands right now in regulation and, well, where it might go next.
Exactly. Provides a good anchor.
Okay, so let's start with the why. Why do we even need AI in drug regulation right now? What's the urgency?
Well, drug regulation isn't static, like you might think. It's constantly playing catch-up, in a way.
With new tech.
Yeah, exactly. You've got these incredibly advanced things like cell and gene therapies coming through. They pose totally new regulatory questions.
And data, right. I hear about the explosion of data all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Real-world data from patients, electronic health records.
Mm.
The sheer volume regulators have to sift through now is immense compared to, say, 20 years ago.
So the old ways just can't keep up.
That's a big part of it. A lot of the review process for drug applications, it still relies heavily on people manually reading and checking things. Lots of repetitive work.
And that creates bottlenecks, I assume, delays.
Huge delays. Think about it. Drug companies submit mountains of data. Regulatory approval can take months, sometimes years. And if it's a potentially life-saving drug, well, every delay matters.
Okay, so that's where AI comes in, the potential game changer.
Precisely. AI offers this promise of, well, simplifying things, making regulatory affairs more scientific, maybe, more efficient, certainly.
And the big agencies are buying in.
They are. You see, the FDA in the U.S., the EMA in Europe, China's NMPA, they're all actively looking into how AI can speed things up, improve efficiency, and ultimately get safe drugs approved faster.
Right. Before we get into the specifics of how they're using it, maybe we should just quickly define AI, make sure we're all on the same page.
Good idea. So at its core, AI is really a field within computer science. The goal is to get computers to simulate human intelligence.
Like thinking, learning.
Yeah, thinking, discovering patterns, learning from experience or data.
And we hear terms like machine learning and deep learning thrown around a lot. What's the difference there?
Okay, so machine learning, or ML, is a subset of AI. Think of it as computers getting better at making predictions or decisions based on the data they're trained on. They learn from experience, essentially.
Okay. And deep learning.
Deep learning, or DL, is a subset of machine learning. It uses structures inspired by the human brain, these things called neural networks, with many layers.
Ah, hence deep.
Exactly. And it's particularly good at handling really large, complex data sets. It can learn intricate patterns that simpler ML models might miss.
It feels like AI just burst onto the scene, but it has a history, right?
Oh, definitely. It goes way back. You had Alan Turing and his Turing test in the 1950s basically asking, can a machine think?
Right.
Then in the 60s through the 80s, there was this era of expert systems, like IMYCIN, which helped doctors diagnose infections. They were programmed with rules from human experts.
Interesting.
A big leap came in the late 80s with a backpropagation algorithm, which was key for training neural networks effectively. That kind of ushered in the modern machine learning era.
And now deep learning is the big thing.
Yeah, since the mid-2000s, really, you've seen these incredible successes, like AlphaGo beating the World Go champion.
I remember that.
And of course, tools like ChatGPT now. They really showcase the power of deep learning on massive data sets.
It's important to remember, too, AI isn't just about regulation in pharma, is it? It's being used much more broadly.
Absolutely. It's all across the board.
Yeah.
Drug discovery and development, obviously, but also analyzing medical images, helping with diagnoses, even designing gene therapies.
And drug development is a big piece of that AI market.
It's the largest share, actually. The FDA mentioned over 100 applications using AI or ML have already been submitted just to them.
Wow. So how is it optimizing that R&D part before it even gets to the regulators?
Well, AI and ML can analyze vast amounts of biological and chemical data much faster than humans. This helps shorten R&D cycles, potentially cuts costs.
And improves the chances of success. Goes back to that 90% failure rate.
Exactly. It can help identify promising drug candidates earlier, predict potential safety issues, even find new uses for existing drugs by analyzing patterns in data. Better predictions mean fewer failures down the line.
That makes so much sense, and it explains why the regulators themselves are so keen to integrate AI. Let's talk about the FDA's push. You said it was extensive.
Yeah, they've been quite strategic about it. It started formally around 2019 with their Technology Modernization Action Plan, TMAP. The idea was to use tech, including AI, to make regulation more efficient.
And that evolved.
Yes, into things like the Data Modernization Action Plan, DMA. In 2021, focusing specifically on using predictive models and AI with their data.
And they have specific programs too, right? Like iStand.
Right. iStand Innovative Science and Technology Approaches for New Drugs. That came in 2020. It's a pilot program looking at novel methods, including AI and ML, for things like reducing animal testing or designing better clinical trials.
And what about ongoing monitoring? You mentioned Sentinel.
Yeah, the Sentinel initiative is older, started in 2008 for post-market safety monitoring using real-world data, but they're upgrading it. The best system within Sentinel now uses NLP, natural language processing, to help automate the processing of adverse event reports.
NLP, that's teaching computers to understand language.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Reading and interpreting text data, which is crucial for things like safety reports or clinical notes.
Okay, so that's the FDA. What about Europe, the EA?
Europe's taking a very collaborative approach involving the EMA and national agencies across the EU. They have these big strategies like regulatory science to 2025 and the EMA network strategy to 2025.
And AI is prominent in those.
Very much so. They explicitly call out AI for improving data analysis and driving digital transformation and regulation.
They set up special groups for this.
Yeah, the Big Data Steering Group, BDSG, and the Analytics Center of Excellence, ACE. Their job is to push AI integration and develop actual tools and methods, optimizing workflows, managing knowledge better.
Sounds ambitious.
It is. They even published a multi-annual AI work plan running from 2023 to 2028. The goal is pretty much an AI-based regulatory system eventually.
Wow, and individual countries are doing things too.
Definitely. Germany's agency, BFRM, for example, is building AI computing power for analyzing drug safety data and mining text. Swissmedic in Switzerland has an initiative called Swissmedic 4.0, looking at AI for repetitive tasks. It's happening across the continent.
Okay, let's hop over to China, the NMPA. You mentioned smart regulation.
Yes, that's their term. Since about 2018, there's been a strong policy push towards building a smart regulatory system using big data, cloud computing, and AI.
Driven by specific plans.
They launched a Chinese Drug Regulatory Science Action Plan and an action plan for accelerating smart drug regulation, both in 2019. The goal is clear: to promote AI applications.
And it's in their bigger national plans, too.
Yep. The recent 14th five-year plans for pharma and drug safety specifically highlight AI for things like early warnings about risks and improving their national system for tracking adverse drug reactions, ADRs.
With all these different national efforts, how do things stay aligned globally? Is anyone trying to harmonize this?
That's where the ICH comes in, the International Council for Harmonization. They develop guidelines that many countries adopt.
And they're looking at AI.
They are. They're exploring how AI fits into various existing guidelines, things related to patient input, manufacturing quality, drug stability, even suggesting AI modeling could help understand products better. It's about integrating AI into the established global framework.
Makes sense. Any other major players? Japan.
Yeah, Japan's BMDA is also encouraging AI research, often through grants, and their National Institute of Health Sciences, NIHS, is already using AI.
For what specifically?
For predicting chemical mutagenicity, basically, whether a chemical might cause genetic mutations using these things called QSR models, which AI can enhance.
QSR, quantitative structure-activity relationship.
That's the one. Predicting properties based on chemical structure. So
Yeah.
yes, it's definitely a global trend.
Okay, this is fascinating. Let's get really practical now. How is AI actually being used day to day in regulation? You mentioned safety surveillance, pharmacovigilance.
Right. This is a huge area. As we said, regulators get flooded with reports of potential side effects or adverse events, ATs, after a drug is on the market.
Like the FDA getting over 2 million a year.
Exactly. Imagine trying to process all that manually. It's just not feasible to do it quickly or thoroughly.
So AI helps sort through it.
Precisely. The FDA uses ML models to automatically classify reports coming into their FAIRS database. It helps prioritize, spot potential signals faster.
And the Sentinel system uses AI, too.
Yeah, Sentinel uses NLP and ML to analyze electronic health records for safety signals across millions of patients. They also have newer tools like Inferbert, trying to figure out causality. Did the drug actually cause the event? And InfoVIP, which uses AI to visualize reports, find duplicates, making the data much more manageable.
And Europe's doing similar things.
Swissmedic's LISA project uses AI to scan medical literature for reports of ADRs. Sweden's agency has the 5i project using NLP to pick out serious AEs from text reports. There's also a WHO collaborating center tool called WHO Drug Coda that uses AI to automatically code drug names in AE reports, standardizing the data.
So huge efficiency gains in safety monitoring. What about optimizing the actual workflow of reviewing drug applications?
Yeah, another key area. The FDA developed a tool called CASA.
CASA.
Yep. It helps structure the assessment of a quality part of a drug application, makes the review more consistent, more efficient. Been around since 2018.
And they have one for labels, too.
They do. Kessley, computerized labeling assessment tool. It uses AI to automatically check drug labels against requirements. They also have FD Label, a database you can query using AI, and ArcExpert, another AI model for analyzing label documents.
ArcExpert. That sounds like the language models we hear about.
Exactly, based on similar technology. The EMA in Europe is also applying AI internally, using NLP to automatically categorize the electronic submissions they receive.
The ECTDs.
Right. And even using AI to help review image data submitted in applications or automatically pull key information out of documents. They're rolling out a tool called Scientific Explorer soon for regulators across the EU to search documents more intelligently.
So it's really embedding into the core processes.
It is. And it's also being used for research by the regulators, regulatory science research.
How so? What kind of research?
Well, different FDA offices are using AI for various projects, studying health disparities using 3D printing data with ML to predict how drugs might cross the placenta.
Wow, okay.
AI models to predict cancer risk, simulating drug effects in pregnant women. And the NCTR, their research center, has this big AI for TOX program.
For toxicology.
Yeah, developing AI tools to predict toxicity. Things like AnimalGen or SafeAI. They have BERTOX for analyzing toxicology documents using NLP, Pathology for analyzing tissue slides, and Deep Data Eye specifically for predicting drug-induced liver injury, which is a major safety concern.
That's incredibly sophisticated, proactive safety assessment using AI.
That's the goal. And remember, Japan's NIHS using AI for mutagenicity prediction.
Yeah.
That falls under regulatory science research, too.
With all this activity, how do regulators share knowledge and coordinate? Is there much international dialogue?
Oh, definitely. You often see FDA officials, for instance, speaking at international conferences about AI's potential. They emphasize how it can help understand drug safety better, modernize the whole regulatory system.
And they push for collaboration.
Yes, very much so. The NCTR even has research specifically on AI for pharmacovigilance called AI for PharmCovig. And there are joint workshops, too.
Like?
Well, the European Medicines Agency, EMA, and the heads of medicines agencies, HMA, held the joint workshop specifically on AI in medicine regulation. They shared progress on using ML and NLP for better pharmacovigilance. So there's active sharing of research and best practices.
Okay, so there's a lot of promise, a lot of activity. But you mentioned challenges earlier. It can't all be easy.
No, definitely not. Drug regulation is just inherently unique and complex, which creates real hurdles for adopting AI smoothly.
What's the biggest one? Data.
Data is huge. AI models need lots of high-quality, well-structured data to learn effectively. But regulatory data is often messy. It's diverse, comes from different sources. A lot of it is unstructured text.
Like doctor's notes or reports.
Exactly. Integrating all that is tough. Plus, there are issues around data sharing. Company data is sensitive. Patient data is private. Getting enough of the right data together is a major challenge.
And then there are the technical limits of AI itself.
Right. Choosing the best AI algorithm for a specific regulatory task isn't trivial. Then there's making sure the models are adaptable meaning they still work well when they encounter new data they haven't seen before.
And the black box problem.
That's a critical one, yeah. Especially with complex models like deep learning, it can be really hard to understand why the AI made a particular prediction or decision.
Which is a big deal in regulation, where you need to justify decisions.
Absolutely. You need reliability, repeatability, interpretability, understanding the why, and traceability. Trust is paramount, and black boxes make that difficult.
What about the people needed to do all this?
Another major challenge, the talent shortage.
Mhm.
You need people who understand data science, computer science, and the pharmaceutical world, including regulation. That combination is rare.
It's a very specialized skill set.
Extremely. Building these interdisciplinary teams is crucial but difficult.
And are there agreed upon standards for how to use AI in regulation yet?
Not really, not on an international level. There's a lack of common standards for exchanging AI-related data or for validating AI applications used in regulatory work. This really slows down progress and collaboration.
Okay, so significant hurdles. But despite those, you still see a bright future.
Oh, definitely. The prospects are still incredibly broad. AI really feels like a catalyst that could push us into a new era for regulation.
An era of what? More efficiency.
Enhanced efficiency, yes, but also potentially enhanced scrutiny. AI can analyze data in ways humans can't, potentially catching things we might miss, and definitely more innovation.
How else might it help?
Well, think about knowledge management. AI could help regulators, but also provide better information or consultations to patients, doctors, even drug developers. Imagine AI assisting with complex queries about drug interactions or usage.
And driving more advanced research.
For sure. Fully utilizing AI for regulatory science like we talked about, assessing safety in specific groups, setting standards for totally new types of therapies, really digging into real-world data. It opens up a lot of possibilities.
So what's the key takeaway? What needs to happen next to really unlock this potential?
I think it boils down to collaboration. Really strong interdisciplinary collaboration between researchers and academia, the pharmaceutical industry, and the regulatory agencies themselves.
Breaking down silos.
Exactly. And strengthening that international cooperation we talked about, refining the policies and guidelines around AI use. That's how we'll harness its potential safely and effectively for public health.
So it feels like we're really just at the beginning of this journey with AI in drug regulation.
We are, relatively speaking.
But the impact is already being felt, isn't it? It's starting to change how medicines are developed, how they're reviewed, how safety is monitored.
Absolutely. It's a fundamental shift.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the technology itself.
Right. It's about working together differently, regulators, industry, researchers, towards that common goal of safer, more accessible treatments.
Precisely. A collaborative future, hopefully powered by smarter tools.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought to chew on. As AI gets more powerful and new therapies get even more complex, what happens to the role of the human regulator?
That's the big question, isn't it? Do they shift from being primarily reviewers of data
To becoming more like architects, designing and overseeing these intelligent systems that help ensure public safety?
possibly? And if so, what new skills become crucial? Is it more about understanding AI, managing data, asking the right questions of the algorithms?
Something to think about as this AI-powered future continues to unfold.